Sparkle's big day. Lily ran a polishing cloth over the Robodog Walker 5000's metallic chassis, the chrome gleaming under the harsh fluorescent lights of the community hall. One last check. GPS. Locked. Treat dispenser. Fully loaded with organic, gluten-free bacon-flavored bites. Leash retraction system. Smooth as silk. Emergency stop button. Depressed and released with satisfying click. Perfect. A nervous flutter tickled her stomach. Today was the day. She straightened, smoothed down her pale blue blazer, and caught her reflection in the walker's sensor array. A pale, anxious face stared back. "Okay, Lily," she murmured, "you've got this. Just remember your key points: safety, convenience, and superior poop-scooping technology." She winced. Maybe she needed to work on that last one. She paced to the far side of the room, visualizing the layout. The judges would be seated at a long table draped in a starched white cloth. Beyond them, the expectant faces of potential investors and dog-walking enthusiasts. She cleared her throat, striking a confident pose. "Good morning, esteemed judges and fellow animal lovers," she began, her voice sounding thin and reedy even to her own ears. "Are you tired of those dreaded early morning walks in the pouring rain? Do you dream of a world where dog poop magically disappears?" She cringed. Too cheesy. Too much like a late-night infomercial. She tried again, adopting a more serious tone. The Robodog Walker 5000 represents a paradigm shift in canine companionship. It's not just a product, it's a solution. Better. Much better. She launched into a detailed explanation of the walker's features, gesturing wildly with her hands. The automatic obstacle avoidance system, the customizable walking routes, the built-in bark translator. The door creaked open, interrupting her rehearsal. Mark poked his head in, a warm smile lighting up his face. He held a steaming mug. "Coffee delivery for the brilliant inventor." "Thanks, honey," she said, gratefully accepting the mug. The aroma of hazelnut filled her nostrils, instantly calming her nerves. He walked over and wrapped his arms around her, pulling her close. "You're going to ace this, Lil. I know you are. You've poured your heart and soul into this project." He kissed her forehead. "Just remember to breathe and don't let anyone rattle you. Especially not my father." A shiver ran down her spine. Her father-in-law. The man was a master of subtle sabotage. "I'll try," she said, forcing a smile. "But he does have a knack for pushing my buttons." "Just turn his tricks against him," Mark suggested, echoing a sentiment she had only dared to dream. "You're smarter than he thinks you are." He squeezed her hand. "Now go out there and show them what you've got." She took a deep breath, the coffee warming her from the inside out. "Okay," she said, a newfound determination hardening her gaze. "Let's do this." She walked toward the Robodog Walker 5000, a mischievous glint in her eye. It was showtime. Grumble's gloom. The workshop door groaned open, a drawn-out complaint of metal protesting its age, and Mortimer Grumble shuffled in. Unsolicited, naturally. His gaze, sharp as a winter wind, swept over the space, his nose twitching as if he'd encountered a disagreeable odor. "So, this is the source of the infernal din," he rumbled, his voice a gravelly echo of his surname. Lily, engrossed in tweaking the Robodog Walker 5000's treat release mechanism, nearly vaulted over her workbench. "Mr. Grumbles. Didn't hear you." She hastily wiped grease from her coveralls, striving for composure. He edged forward, his attention riveted on the Robodog Walker 5000. A proud sentinel, its polished frame caught the overhead light, a leash clip dangling in anticipation. "That device," he declared, his tone laced with disdain. "Precisely what is it meant to achieve? Render actual walks obsolete." "It's intended as an aid, sir," Lily countered, suppressing her usual ebullience. "For those with limited mobility or demanding schedules. It's about facilitating connection, not replacing it." He circled the machine, rapping it with a knuckle, the sound resonated with a metallic hollowness. "Looks like a heap of extravagant fluff. Back when I was a lad, we utilized pony carts. Simple, dependable, requiring neither batteries nor flashing lights." He pantomimed pulling reins, a momentary softness flickering across his features, as if summoning a fond memory. Lily fought back the urge to mention the pony's distinct lack of waste management capabilities. "This is a tad more sophisticated than a pony cart, sir. It can autonomously navigate obstacles, adapt to any terrain, and even sense shifts in weather to modulate its pace." She indicated a subtle, almost invisible sensor near the RoboDog Walker 5000's base. HMPH escaped his lips. His critical gaze landed on a stray cable coiled on the floor. "All this modern technology. It'll spell our doom, mark my words. You can't even entrust a machine to ambulate a dog correctly." He leaned heavily on his stick, casting a long shadow of disapproval. "A proper leash is all one needs." The live interview. Penny Bright's arrival was a miniature media circus. Her van disgorged tripods and lights, transforming Lily's front yard into a makeshift television set. A boom mic, poised like a predatory insect, hovered above, while cables sprawled across the verdant lawn. "Ready to unleash some brilliance, Lily?" Penny's voice bubbled with enthusiasm, her smile as radiant as her moniker. It was contagious, instantly setting Lily at ease. "Absolutely." Lily responded, practically vibrating with anticipation. One last tweak to the RoboDog Walker 5000 settings, its polished surface gleaming under the artificial illumination. Sparky, sensing the buzz, let out a small whine and nudged at Lily's leg. From his familiar post on the porch swing, Mortimer Grumble scowled, a storm brewing on his face. He mumbled, "Bah, poppycock. All this hullabaloo for a glorified wind-up toy." Oblivious, Penny gestured to the RoboDog Walker 5000. "Tell me everything. What spark ignited this ingenious invention?" Lily plunged into her explanation, the initial jitters giving way to genuine passion. She recounted the genesis of her idea, the endless frustration with tangled leashes and the yearning to provide Sparky with the perfect outdoor experience, rain or shine. She showcased the AI-driven navigation, the nimble obstacle avoidance system, and the ingenious self-cleaning mechanism. Penny's questions flew thick and fast, each one coaxing out intricate details about the design journey, the hurdles overcome, and the eureka moments experienced. Adrenaline coursing through her veins, Lily responded with increasing confidence. "And what about safeguards?" Penny inquired, a slight crease forming on her brow. "How do you guarantee the RoboDog Walker 5000 won't, for instance, steer Sparky into harm's way?" Lily smiled, exuding reassurance. "That's where the integrated proximity sensors come into play. They establish an invisible perimeter around Sparky. Anything encroaching upon that space triggers an immediate halt." Mr. Grumble's scoff was explosive. "Proximity sensors? What about the squirrels? That infernal machine will likely send every bushy-tailed rodent in a 5-mile radius scurrying into the path of oncoming vehicles." Lily tuned him out, fixing her attention on Penny's captivated expression. The camera operator flashed a thumbs up, signaling the green light. A surge of nerves prickled Lily's skin, but she drew a deep breath, reminding herself of her purpose. This was her shot to present the RoboDog Walker 5000 to the world and, with luck, revolutionize the lives of dogs and their owners everywhere. "Sabotage. Rolling, Penny?" Lily queried, fidgeting with the RoboDog Walker 5000's clip. Sunlight flashed off its sleek, metallic casing. Penny Bright, clutching a microphone, signaled agreement. "Cameras live, Lily. Time for the sales pitch." Lily drew a long breath, facing the lens. "Welcome back to Gadget Genius. Today's marvel, the RoboDog Walker 5000. Forget tiresome strolls, rejoice in canine contentment." She secured the leash to a comically large St. Bernard plush. Witness the future of pet care. Lily tapped a button on the control. The RoboDog Walker 5000 stirred, its jointed limbs mimicking a surprisingly natural amble. It began smoothly, the plush St. Bernard following faithfully. "Observe its seamless navigation," Lily announced, a wide grin on her face. Pre-programmed routes and intelligent obstacle avoidance ensure effortless operation. Abruptly, the RoboDog Walker 5000 bucked. Its gait devolved into chaotic spasms, legs flailing wildly. The Street Bernard toy surged ahead, nearly toppling Lily. "That's anomalous," she stammered, stabbing at the remote's buttons. No response. A piercing whine erupted from the device, culminating in a sharp crack. Then, without warning, a geyser of water blasted from a concealed port near the front. Lily shrieked, throwing up her hands as the frigid spray drenched her completely. Cut! Cut! Penny yelled, backpedaling frantically with the camera but not quite escaping the aqueous assault. From over the fence, Mortimer Grumbles, their habitually morose neighbor, observed with a rare, malicious grin. Experiencing a few snags, are we? The Robodog Walker 5000, now a rogue sprinkler, continued its icy barrage. Drenched and trembling, Lily fought with the remote, hammering the controls. The machine emitted a final, sputtering gasp, then pitched forward, collapsing in a waterlogged heap on the manicured lawn. Penny, equally soaked, lowered the camera, droplets clinging to the lens. Well, she managed, her voice quavering. That was unexpected, to say the least. Lily, swiping water from her vision, forced a wan smile. Just a minor, operational hiccup. We'll iron it out. But a chilling premonition settled deep within her. This wasn't mere malfunction. This felt intentional. A grumpy grin. The Robodog Walker 5000 careened, not with Lily's envisioned elegance, but like a hyperactive toddler on a sugar rush. Leashes nodded, solar panels would like crazed toys, and Buster, usually Lily's placid beagle, howled, struggling against his constraints. Mortification flooded Lily as she wrestled to regain control. Buster, in his distress, was now attempting to scale the presentation stand, paws scrabbling for purchase on the unforgiving surface. The audience, a sea of hopeful faces moments before, dissolved into a cacophony of gasps and stifled laughter. Then, amidst the pandemonium, she spotted him. Mr. Grumbles, enthroned in the third row, arms crossed, his expression a peculiar study. It wasn't outright guffawing, more a contained chortle fighting for release. A smirk, undeniably grumpy. Lily's heart sank. This wasn't mere malfunction, it was deliberate sabotage. The whoopee cushion incident at last year's company picnic flashed through her mind. And the infamous salted coffee debacle that morning. Harmless pranks, he'd called them. This, however, felt like a calculated blow aimed straight at her career. A sudden, vivid memory sparked, Mr. Grumbles lingering near the Robodog Walker 5000 just prior to the demonstration, feigning admiration of its lines. He peppered her with surprisingly astute questions about the wiring, a strange gleam in his eye. Dismissed as mere curiosity then, now it coalesced into a chilling realization. He hadn't been admiring, he'd been meddling. The Robodog Walker 5000 emitted a frantic series of beeps before erupting into a chaotic, unpredictable jig, flinging marketing material and sending a water bottle spiraling. Buster, bless him, managed to escape his bonds and sought refuge beneath the presentation table, emitting soft whimpers. Lily inhaled deeply, forcing composure. Mr. Grumbles might believe he'd won, but he underestimated her resolve. She refused to be defeated. This presentation, this innovation, was too important. She wouldn't let his juvenile antics destroy her efforts. An audacious, albeit risky, strategy began to formulate. She needed only a moment and a large serving of nerve. The silly mode to save. The water cannon sputtered, coughed, and then, with a final pathetic whimper, died. Mortimer Grumbles, his face a mask of barely concealed triumph, steepled his fingers. Penny Bright, dripping and shivering, pointed her camera at him, but her hand trembled so violently the image was surely a blur. The silence was thick enough to choke on. Lily's mind raced. This was it. Done. Her reputation, her project, her future, all soaked and ruined. Then, a memory flickered a dusty, forgotten corner of Mr. Grumbles' office, years ago. The Laugh-A-Lot toy, a grotesque plastic clown that was supposed to giggle but instead emitted a series of strangled squawks and random limb jerks. Mr. Grumbles had dismissed it as a defective prototype, a failed venture. But what if? Actually, Lily said, her voice surprisingly steady, that's the new silly mode. Mortimer's eyebrows shot up, his carefully constructed facade of indifference cracking. Penny, mid-shiver, paused and squinted at Lily, the camera still rolling. Lily pressed on, grabbing the microphone, her mind improvising a script faster than she thought possible. We've been keeping it under wraps, a surprise for the big reveal. The silly mode is a cutting-edge feature designed to introduce an element of playful unpredictability to the irrigation process. She gestured wildly at the defunct cannons. See? Instead of a boring, predictable spray, you get this. A spontaneous, avant-garde water ballet. It's all about embracing the unexpected. She winced inwardly. What a ballet. Really, Lily? Mr. Grumble sputtered, silly mode. There's no such thing. Oh, but there is. Lily insisted, forcing a bright, albeit slightly manic, smile. It's designed to conserve water. By using these erratic bursts, we minimize waste and maximize theatrical effect. Penny Bright lowered the camera slightly, her expression a mixture of disbelief and burgeoning curiosity. Lily could practically see the questions forming in her mind. Is she serious? Is this some kind of elaborate performance art? Lily ignored Mr. Grumble's incredulous stare and Penny's stunned silence. She had to sell this, and she had to sell it now. She struck a pose, dripping and determined, and declared, the future of irrigation is silly. Comedy chaos. Lily's fingers danced across the control panel, a frantic recoding session fueled by adrenaline. Mortimer, convinced of his impending victory, wore a self-satisfied smirk. Let him. She just gifted the Robodog Walker 5000 with a personality upgrade. Showtime. Comedy style, she breathed, slamming the enter key. The robot word sputtered like a faulty engine, then straightened with a mechanical twitch that mimicked a human shrug. Instead of resuming its calamitous charge, it began to undulate. A zany tune, utterly foreign to its original programming, blared from its speakers. Then, it began to groove. Forget a refined two-step, picture a malfunctioning pinball machine attempting the hustle. Limbs jerked, appendages flailed, its head bobbed with an enthusiasm that bordered on manic. Penny, still shivering and soaked, captured the spectacle, her camera trembling with suppressed mirth. Lily, however, wasn't finished. Another tap, and the bubble feature roared to life. Suddenly, the Robodog Walker 5000 gushed a cascade of shimmering spheres, which danced and burst around its wildly gyrating form. The audience, initially stunned into silence by the robot's earlier rampage, erupted in uproarious laughter. Children pointed and shrieked with glee, adults clutched their stomachs, tears welling in their eyes. Even the judges couldn't suppress their grins. Mortimer's air of triumph began to dissolve. The color drained from his face, previously flushed with smugness. He stammered, his gaze flickering between the capering machine and the mirthful throng. The Robodog Walker 5000, now a full-blown comedic force, amplified the bedlam. It began to spin, faster and faster, conjuring a vortex of bubbles and frenetic energy. Lily, watching the scene unfold, felt a rush of triumph. It was working. His sabotage had unwittingly spawned the most side-splittingly funny dog-walking robot the world had ever witnessed. The robot faltered, tripped over its own clunky feet, and executed an unplanned somersault, ending in a disheveled heap of metal and plastic. Then, from its prone position, it exhaled one final, colossal bubble that drifted serenely above the cheering masses before popping with a satisfying thwack. Grumble's change of heart. Mortimer Grumbles leaned back in his chair, a smug smirk plastered across his face. He'd done it. He'd finally shown Lily Sparkle what happened when you dared challenge him. But as the laughter ringing through the auditorium didn't die down, and the digital counter tracking audience engagement spiked, the smirk began to wobble. On the giant screen behind Lily, cartoonish googly eyes jiggled on the Serious Solutions logo, and a polka-dotted banner proclaimed, "Silly Solutions now available." Lily, initially mortified, had leaned into it, improvising a series of absurd scenarios that somehow, bizarrely, highlighted the product's core features. And that's how, Lily announced, twirling a sparkly baton she'd conjured from somewhere, Serious Solutions prevents rogue squirrels from stealing your data, with interpretive dance. The audience erupted. Not in boos, but in cheers. Then, a chant started, first a few voices, then dozens, then the entire room, silly mode. Silly mode. Silly mode. Mortimer's face flushed a shade of purple usually reserved for overripe plums. He gripped the arms of his chair, knuckles white. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. He envisioned humiliation, not a standing ovation for silliness. As Lily, flushed but beaming, took a bow, a small swarm of people began heading towards her. Not angry board members as Mortimer had hoped, but investors. He watched, dumbfounded, as a woman in a power suit, her eyes gleaming with excitement, shook Lily's hand. "That was genius," the woman exclaimed, handing Lily a business card. "We need to talk. Serious Solutions, but with a sense of humor. It's revolutionary." Another investor, a man with a neatly trimmed beard and an even neater briefcase, chimed in. The engagement metrics are off the charts. We've been looking for something disruptive, and this is it. Mortimer's carefully constructed world was crumbling. He could feel the icy grip of panic tightening around his chest. He had tried to bury Lily, but instead, he'd inadvertently given her the shovel she needed to dig herself out and unearth a gold mine in the process. His triumph felt like ashes in his mouth. He could almost taste the bitter tang of defeat. A sparkle of success. The silence hung heavy, stretching, threatening to snap. Lily stood frozen, the spotlight hot on her face. Then, a single pair of hands started clapping. Another followed, then two more, and soon the auditorium erupted. A standing ovation. Lily's heart soared, a hummingbird trapped in her chest. People were on their feet, cheering, their faces alight with genuine delight. Tears welled in her eyes, blurring the vibrant scene. She'd done it. The Dreamweaver, her invention that projected comforting, interactive stories onto bedroom ceilings, was a hit. Parents were already clamoring for pre-orders, their children tugging at their sleeves, eyes wide with wonder. Investors, previously cold and dismissive, were now buzzing around her like bees to honey, their voices a frantic chorus of opportunity. Lily spotted Mr. Grumbles struggling to navigate the throng. His face was a mask of thunder, but something else flickered beneath the surface, disbelief, perhaps, or even a grudging admiration. He looked smaller somehow, deflated. He finally reached her, his usual bluster replaced with a strained silence. He cleared his throat, the sound raspy and unnatural. Sparkle, he began, the word tasting like ash in his mouth. That contraption of yours, he paused, searching for the right words, words that didn't come easily. It seems to have resonated with the audience. Lily waited, holding her breath. He shifted uncomfortably. Congratulations, he mumbled, the word barely audible above the din. It was the hardest thing he'd probably ever had to say. Lily, emboldened by her success and the overwhelming positive reaction, met his gaze. Thank you, Mr. Grumbles. She extended her hand. He hesitated for a moment, then grasped it, his grip surprisingly firm. Don't let it get to your head, Sparkle, he grumbled, but the edge was gone from his voice. There's still much to learn. Of course, Mr. Grumbles, Lily replied, a genuine smile gracing her lips. There always is. As she turned to greet another eager investor, she caught Mr. Grumbles watching her. He quickly averted his gaze, a flicker of something akin to a smile playing on his lips. For the first time, Lily saw past the gruff exterior, glimpsing a man who, despite his flaws, was capable of growth. Maybe, just maybe, they could actually work together. The impossible seemed a little less impossible now. The air crackled with possibilities, as bright and promising as the Dreamweaver's star-filled skies.